Hey there, Holotable hackers. Welcome back to the Holotable Maintenance Bay. Today we're going to hack in a character that belongs to a faction that I think is well overdue and really belongs in this game. It's a faction that hasn't been introduced yet, but maybe you'll agree that this faction could use some love and really belongs in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Light up that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and as always, feel free to throw that intergalactic symbol of encouragement, the thumbs up button. If you do, that would be wizard. Thanks for being here. I'm excited for our third Holotable hack. And this particular faction really has such potential to be a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to hack this particular character into the game today. So let's navigate to our characters. We'll do a quick little hack here just to temporarily take this character out. There we go. And now we'll do a quick partial hack to give us some clues as to what character is going to be hacked into the holotables today. Let's take a look at the abilities and see if you can guess who is going to be hacked in today. Hateful Strike, Harvesting Sweep, an AoE, Reaper of the Fallen is a unique, and Latent Force abilities, which is also a unique. This character is Darkside, they're an attacker, they're a scoundrel, and they're an unaligned force user. There's a case to be made that they could also be considered a mercenary, but I left that tag off, but this one will probably give it away. Knights of Ren, a new tag, really an entirely new faction that I think really has a great deal of potential. These characters had such potential, am I right? I mean, when the Force Awakens trailer launched years ago, we catch just a glimpse of them in flickers of lightning, and then Snoke references them, and then they're on screen so rarely, which adds to their mystique. And then, nothing. Like, they disappear completely, only to show up at the very end of Rise of the Skywalker, and then they get clobbered almost instantly. Like, they're down in minutes. So much potential was there, and they were just never fleshed out, at least in film. And it's just such a shame. They're super unique, they're very fascinating, and totally deadly. But we never really got to see much of that on film. The comics shed a lot more light on them, though. And I would love to see all of them introduced as a brand new faction. I'm guessing it will happen someday, but we'll see. I'm sure I'll hack in a few more someday. Maybe I'll get to all of them. They're so unique and so interesting, each one of them. But a basic mechanic that I would love to see with them is actually one we've seen before, and that is with Stormtrooper Han and Stormtrooper Luke. So with Stormtrooper Han, for instance, his first attack, his basic, has this interesting line of text. This attack has high damage variance. And with Stormtrooper Luke as well, his basic. This attack has high damage variance. I think for all the Knights of Ren, that mechanic of high damage variance, I see this faction as basically all of them having very high damage variance. Truly the most of any team. Meaning that's a lot of RNG dependency, which doesn't sound like a lot of fun necessarily, but it does mean that sometimes they'll do poorly. Most of the time they'll probably do average, just depending on relic levels and skill. But sometimes they are going to hit like an absolute Imperial rail crawler and just mow down everything. But it just fits their unbridled and unpredictable nature so well. They're shown to be immensely powerful characters, but they have no formal training in the Force. So their Force abilities are raw and untamed. I could even see something similar to BT-1, who, when he goes haywire, he damages everybody on the opposing team, but he even damages himself and a little bit of his allies on his own team. I see something similar with the Knights of Ren in that they're a little bit wild and untrained. So for instance, if there's certain debuffs that are being cast on the opposing team, perhaps that debuff once in a while hits one of his own characters. And of course, the high damage variance makes them unpredictable, hard to really, and somewhat hard to control, which is lore accurate. But again, There'd be those battles where they absolutely just destroyed the competition, and I think that would be really fun. So we'll do one final hack here. And there he is, Vickrul, one of the Knights of Ren. Now Vickrul's relic amplifier would be his case-hardened Pastilian ore helmet. And who would lead the team? Well, rather than use the original Kylo Ren as the leader, because we do have Kylo Ren already in the game, he's not a leader, but he is the leaders of the Knights of Ren. But rather, I would love to see the original Ren introduced to the game as the leader, because Kylo Ren inherited the group of knights from Snoke, who promised that Kylo Ren, the fallen Jedi apprentice, would gain powerful followers, and then later did lead the team. But before Kylo Ren, there was another Ren that was the leader of the team, and I would love to see him introduced. That would be 7 total characters introduced to the game, which reminds me a lot of the Inquisitorius, right? There used to be, I think it was 7, because originally the Inquisitorius started with second sister, ninth sister, seventh sister, fifth brother, and then the Grand Inquisitor. And they appeared in early June 2022. And then little by little, we've got more Inquisitorius that came into the game. And you really have to decide which Inquisitorius you want to use to make the full team. And you're going to have some spares. Because even now, with Inquisitor Barriss, we still only have 9 Inquisitorius. So you still can't make 2 complete Inquisitorius teams. Likewise, you'd have to do the same with the Knights of Ren. And there would be strategy involved in who you wanted to gear up and how you wanted to use that particular team. And of course, in 3v3, you would be able to get 2 teams. But the original Ren, I think, would be the leader. I mean, you could also make Kylo Ren an additional leader. That way, you would have 2 leaders so that you could make 2 separate 3v3 teams. But as far as Vickrul here, that first special with that scythe would definitely be an AoE. His unique, Reaper of the Fallen, would be that any time an enemy is defeated, he gains health, and if he defeats the enemy, he also gains offense. These are both stacking and lore accurate, as he gains power from each victim he defeats. And then latent force abilities, another unique. This would include his ability to magnify a victim's fear. So he would be able to dole out that fear debuff to his opponents in some way. Perhaps on his basic, or with another ability. The Knights of Ren have a sick ship called the Night Buzzard, which is piloted by Kuruk, and Cardo does the maintenance and operation of the ship's arsenal. Knowing that Cardo is also a maintenance guy like me, you might think I might like to get to know him, but I don't know. I'm pretty hesitant to cross paths with him. But I would really see those two, Kuruk and Cardo, as the 2 crew members. There's actually a seat for the pilot and then 4 gunner seats on deck, but I think 5 total crew members for a ship is a little much, so I've left it off Vickrul here. He's not considered crew for the ship, but I would love to hack that ship into the game. I don't know where it would go, but it's such a cool ship. But those are some of the mechanics that I think would fit Vickrul really well. But if you've got more ideas for either this character, for the other Knights of Ren, by all means, share them in the transmission section below. And thank you all so much for those of you that have voted for different characters or even ships to come into the game. I love seeing all the ideas from you Holotable hackers. And even if you've already voted for a character, you can vote for them again. You can give multiple comments. Right now, a lot of characters are all sort of tied at very low numbers, but even if you comment the same character over and over and over again, that doesn't bother me. And the more votes a character gets, well, once a character reaches the first threshold, then that will be the first fan-voted character that I hack into the Holotables. So I've got a certain threshold in mind, so keep those votes coming in. What character or what ship would you love to see in the game? Put it down in the transmission section below. And of course, even if you have ideas for what factions they would be on or what mechanics that they would utilize, any of those details I might even include in the Holotable hack itself, as well as a shout out thanking you for your vote. So let me know. Thanks again for stopping into the Holotable Maintenance Bay. I'm Maleran Blivet. Keep those holotables humming, and may the Force be with you.
Come in, Maleran. Someone's unplugged all the power couplings. Can you get on that?
Yeah, I'll handle it. I gotta get back to work.